Hi friends, Grace here to share with you another video tutorial. So today I decided that I was going to talk about some 6x6 paper pads. Now 6x6 paper pads, in my opinion, came about because of card makers. They had wanted papers that would fit the smaller project that they were working on, and the graphics would be smaller. So hence these papers have just the smaller versions of their 12 by 12 counterparts. And then another thing that 6x6 papers came about is because they're cheaper than the 12 by 12 packs. 12 by 12 packs usually cost about $15 to about $30 for a whole pack, but these ones are about $6 to $8 per pack, and so if you use your 40% coupon, it will be a lot cheaper. And as you can see, I have 5 different packs of papers here, and this, not including the one that I'm going to use on my page, is actually all that I have in my 6x6 paper stash. I had a lot more, but this year I'm really trying to pare down my supplies as a whole. So I have gone through all my 6x6 paper pads and either sold them or have traded them or have given them to friends and family, because I just feel lately that I feel overwhelmed when I have a lot of stuff in my stash. So these are all that I have. This is basic gray, this is my mind's eye, and then 6 SCI papers. Alright, so let's talk about what I'm going to do. Let me just move that here. Okay, so I decided that 6x6 paper pads are not only just for card makers, but also for scrapbookers. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, is to show you how I use a 6x6 paper pad in a layout. So I'm going to show you all the stuff that I'm going to use for this page. I got this Maya Road trim recently from a box from Northridge Publishing. When your projects get published with their magazine, they give you free products as a payment for your publication. So I got this Maya Road trim that is really cute, that I think I want to use in this page. I want to use some buttons, and then I'm going to handwrite my journaling for this layout. And then I have a few punches. This is Creative Memories tag punch, and then a Fiskars scallop punch. And then I have a little ink pad from SCI, and this is going to be used for the vellum. These are my pictures. I printed them smaller, so they're 3x4 size prints, and there's only 4 of them. And then this is the 6x6 paper pad that I'm going to use. This one is So Noted from Cartabella, and I really like the colors. It spoke spring to me and vintage. So these are some of the papers in there. And then I'm also going to use some scraps. So I'm going to use a scrap of this Transparency from Hambly, and also some vellum from Dear Lizzie line. I'm going to use 2 colors, 2 sizes and styles of font for my title. This one is Thickers from American Crafts, and this one's My Little Shoebox. And then I'm going to use an orange cardstock for my base. So let's get started. So with my paper pack, I picked 4 papers to use as my background. Now, even though the 6x6 papers are smaller than their 12 by 12 counterpart, I think that they also go well to be used as a background. And I think because they're smaller, then you can use more. So I picked 4 papers that I had trimmed into a 5.5 by 5.5 square. What I like about these papers is that they have subtle background, and so they are not going to overwhelm my page and take away from my pictures. So I'm just going to use 4 in my page right now, and this is going to be my background. And I also, another tip that I want to tell you guys is that when you are looking for papers to use for the background, I always pull out colors for my pictures. So in my pictures, I have kind of that pink hue for my daughter's shirt, and there's a lot of blues from the sky and the greens. So that's what I picked as my background. And then next I'm going to lay my pictures, and I'm going to adhere them, put them in the center. Maybe I'm going to put this down there, or maybe I'm just kind of playing around with my papers or in my pictures here. Okay, so I think I'm going to go like that. And then I want to mat my pictures to make it stand out a little bit more with white cardstock. So I'm going to add this over the white paper and then trim it so I have some matting on there. And then another thing that I use the 6x6 papers with is with punches. Because the designs are smaller, they work really well with as a smaller item in your page. So I picked some papers and I had stamped them, or no, punched them, sorry. So like this paper, I had punched a few of them. Now I like this paper because it has layered designs of this vintage type papers, ledger papers, things like that. And so I had punched out one that has a grid, which I'm going to use as a journaling paper because it already has the lines. It would be easy for me to write on it. And then I also like the background, which is kind of a blue damask design. And I punched one out from that too. And then I also punched some with the vellum because I like the soft feel of it, and because it's vellum, it wouldn't be so bold that the papers behind it wouldn't show. Because my page has a lot of designs on them already, I try to not make it too confusing with the eye, so I'm trying not to have too much designs on there. So as you can see, I decided to use simple dots and a really plain, well not plain, but a really thin design on this pink, and then put my bold papers on top of it just so that they're not going against each other. So that's another way that I use my my 6x6 paper pads, is I punch out papers on it. I'm actually going to punch out one of these, and I'm going to use the damask side so you guys can see. And I'm just going to use this one over here. I like to balance my page, so whatever I do on this side, I try to do on the other side as well, just so it will look even and balanced. Now another way that you can use punched shapes with your papers is to create borders on them. So I had used this kind of script text paper with a scallop punch, and I created a strip of paper that I wanted to use down here, and then I wanted to use that transparency paper, and I cut the end of it into a notch, just one end. And then, you know what, I think I'm going to switch these pictures. So that I will have this space to work with when I lay that strip of paper on there. So as you can see, let me see if I can close up. Okay. So it's coming together, and then I'm going to add that blue trim on top between that scallop paper and then also that transparency. So that's two things that I use my my 6x6 paper. I'm going to adhere all these things now, and then we're going to work on the third tip that I have for you. So I'll see you later. Okay friends, I'm back. So I had adhered my background, I matted my pictures and I adhered it, and I also tucked in some of the tags, punched out tags from the 6x6 paper pad. I inked the edges of the vellum just so that the shape will show more or better in my layout, and then I added my strips over here on the bottom. I have my transparency and then punched out border paper strip and then my flower, and then I started to do my my title. Now I stopped here because I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my title. So my title is Balanced Rock, which is this rock that we had in the picture. And as you might notice, let me see if I can focus, that I actually kind of put together a P and a little strip to make an R. So just like everybody else, I have those leftover strips of paper, of letters that there's not enough of a specific letter, and then I just kind of mutate some of the other letters to work for my project. And so I don't waste anything. That's the kind of scrapbooker I am. So we're gonna go back. And then I'm going to finish my title. So as you can see, I put the rock already there. And as you remember from my very first video, that I like to use this thin plastic type ruler and then put my stickers on the edge of it and then place that on my pages, just because it's easier for me to line them up and also to kind of see where I want them to go. So of course they're not going to be perfect. It never goes perfect for me, but it is good enough. So there's my title. Now the last tip I want to show to you about the smaller pads is that you can also cut out little pieces of designs on them that you can use as an embellishment or layered pieces of collages on your paper or on your page. So these, I have cut up some of them. I like that these one has words, and then this one has just boxes of different designed papers. So with this one, I punched out a butterfly, and I'd probably use this negative space for another project. And then I had cut out some words on this side that has the notch on the left side. And then I cut out another word for here. So here is what I have come up with. These are the words. The red one says delightful, and I wanted to put that there. This one is lovely times, and then best moments. So I wanted to put those words there, and then I cut out what happened today. Now this was a kind of a rectangle shape, and I added a corner rounder on one side of it just so it has that round shape just like my tags does. And I inked it so it will show up a little bit more against the blue paper in this side of the page, and that's gonna be kind of my prompt for my journaling. And then I'm also going to add some buttons to this because we have tags. It just doesn't seem like they're finished if they don't have any buttons in them. So I'm going to put a yellow one here, orange one there, a gray one there, and then yellow one here, gray one here. So as you can see, I have tags here and then I have tags there, and then I kind of wanted to create my visual triangle from the colors of these papers. So what I did is I went ahead and used that same damask blue paper, and then I used my postage stamp from Fiskars, punched out a little postage piece of paper, and that's going to go there. And then I'm going to layer that with the butterfly accent that I had punched out from the smaller squares of paper. And that's going to go on top of that. And then I wanted to add the vellum as well so that it will be part of my visual triangle. And so I'm just going to add that on top and then add a little button on there. So that's the bulk of my page. Of course, I need to adhere these things and I need to write my journaling. But as far as techniques, I wanted to recap what we did. I wanted to show you what I do, or how I use my 6x6 paper pads on my layouts, not just for 6x6 paper pads are not just for card making, but they're also for scrapbooking, and I use them as my background. I punched out shapes with them, with the tags, and also with the border punch, and I also cut out some papers and word strips from them so I can add my accents. So there you have it, a layout using 6x6 paper pads. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.